now we have a battle box coming in, and now we've got a nice big screen. Excellent. So now we can see everything. You can see the two players, one of whom is being refreshed, it looks like, quite a bit. And we're ready to get going. So a reminder, Tim in the black t-shirt, light blue checkers, Tim Line, blue shirt, black checkers. Here we go. And that was a 4-3 opening roll, 6-3 will hit, which is correct. 4, 1, yeah, this seems very reasonable. The players have 12 seconds for each move before they eat into their time bank. So they have 22 minutes in the time bank, that's 2 minutes per point. 12 seconds to initially make their move. So the 5 is clear, and I think he'll hit again with the 6. 2 on the bar is better by far. Double hitting also protects the blocks to a certain extent in Tim Cross's home board. I'm not sure about that 6. This way he's got a return hit, the other way he just brought 2 checkers in, and the tempo would have been with Tim Line. 5-6 from the bar hitting again. This was going to be another hit. The question is where. I think he'll hit the blot on black's 9 point. Backgammon is after all a race. So sending the checker back 16 pips is good. 3 and 1. So choices are to come in with the 3 and safety the blot on the 14 point to the midpoint, or come in and hit. Here he's ahead in the race, so it seems logical just to play initially for the race. There's no threats going on anywhere. I would just safety the blot on the 14 point to the 13 point. Yeah. Double 1. So that's going to be 2 of them, making the 5 point. The question is, how do you play the others? I think making the 22 point looks correct. All his checkers are in play. Wrong would have been to bring a checker in from 8 to 6. That spare checker should be living on the, should be heading for his own midpoint. So 4-2. So you can hit and now make the anchor. The alternative was just to make the 4 point, but here he achieves 2 things. Now he's going to be hit again. So like many backgammon games, there's a flurry of hitting in the early stages while the home boards are relatively weak. This is going to be another hit, 3 and 4. Eventually the hitting will finish because somebody will miss, and then we'll see what sort of game we've got. This is another hit, 5-4. And at some point, the better board will pay off. Statistically, that's going to happen. Here we go again. And now he's got 2 choices. He can make his opponents 4 point and have a 3-4 back game, or he can continue to try to hit to see if he can get an advantage. Now, that was a difficult decision. I'm not sure without longer than we have to analyse which is correct. Going into a back game early is not normally correct. It's too committal. I would have hit there. So now he's had to give up the advanced anchor because he has no shape. So 3-1 is awkward. So he's behind in the race. I think that spare checker can usefully do that. Okay, so if black rolls a 4, it's good for him. It's done precisely that, but blue has no fear. Black has no home board, no development to speak of. So we're going to go around in circles here for a minute or 2. I think he'll just make the 22 point again. And eventually, like now, black has his whole roll to try and do something useful and roll something that is constructive. That's fantastically constructive. Makes the 5 point. So obviously making the bar point doesn't look right here. I suspect he'll move both checkers off the 22 point. He's fractionally ahead in the race. There is an argument for making the bar point, but I like coming off the 22 point here with both checkers. Making the bar, oh sorry, I've got the wrong person on roll, that really doesn't help. Okay, so now 5 and 2. That's awkward, he can hit twice. If he plays the 5 down, he's probably going to play the 2 down as well, but that strips the last checker off the midpoint. They both have 3 checkers back, they both have a 2-point board. You could run 1 checker off the 21 point to the 14 point, but that doesn't do a great deal of good, and ideally he'd like to make that 21 point anchor rather than the 22. So I think this is a tempo play, because basically there's nothing better. The tempo players work to a certain extent because Blue's only been able to enter 1 checker. 5, and now I would advance and make the 21 point. Yeah. Okay, so Black has gained slightly there. I think he stayed on the bar. So 4 and 3, this looks like he should now come to Blue's bar point. So if he plays the 3 in, the 4 is definitely going to be played 22 to 18. Because there's no other logical place for it to go. This stops Blue ever priming Black, so that again seems right. This is going to be a hit. So Tim Line as Black has made the committal move of already making his ace point. Those 2 checkers are largely out of play. Here I can't see anything other than coming in with a 4 and playing 6 to 5. And 6 and 4. So if he wants a prize for compactness, he'll move the 2 checkers out of the Black's home board and put them both on the 17 point, which is what he's going to do, I think. It's hard to see a decent 6 if he doesn't do this. Those points that are relatively close to each other should give him a lot of ability to safely move checkers for a while. Tim Line is going to try and build a stronger board. 4 3, probably just 2 checkers onto the midpoint here. Not ideal, but hard to see anything better. Tim Line can make his 3 point here, strengthening his home board. The only other play is to come out with a 3, but I think he's right to await developments. 5 and 2. Both sides playing a waiting game at the moment. 4 and 1 is very, very awkward. He can't move the 2 rear checkers. It's not going to crash his home board, so by default, this is the only play. Double 3 though, so that's very useful. I think he'll just, make the block. So Blue has escaped all his checkers. And this is going to be awkward. Doesn't want another checker sent back. And 1 or 2. 6-3 is not great. You can't play this safely, so the decision is where to leave the block. It looks as if he should play from the 16 point, play both checkers off there. Could actually make his own 10 point, but against a 4 point board, it's a slightly higher risk strategy. I think he's better off coming off the 16 point, leaving the 6 shot, so that if Tim Line does hit, he has to give up his own anchor to do so. There we go. Right, 6 is good for Tim Line, most other numbers aren't. No, double 5. So actually, because his checkers on the midpoint are blocked, he's going to have to come off the 21 point. I think he's going to have to move those 2 checkers again because everything else weakens the board. He's not going to play 6-1 or anything ludicrous here, so I think basically has to do what he's just done. Let's see if there is another play. So obviously now he's got 1 stranded rear checker. This is the 6 here. And I would just do this. Yeah, so he's got the chance of making a 5-point block. 6-2. So he loves to run, but that's going to leave 2s and 3s. So I guess at this point we should do a quick check on the race. So he's 116. So he's leaving 2s and 3s, but if he doesn't get hit, and he did get hit, so this hits and makes the 5-point prime. Well, certainly the 2 is hitting, and then it's a question of how you play the 4. If he makes the 5-point prime, he leaves 3 checkers, susceptible to being hit. If he plays 17-13, safetying the block to the midpoint, then he only leaves 1s and 3s as return numbers, plus 4, 5. And not all 1s and 3s actually hit because, of course, he has to come in, and that's one of his entry numbers. Making the full prime is nice here, but with 1, 2, 3 blocks against a 4-point board. So to me, this is a logical choice. There are far less hitting numbers here, but that is one of them. So he's going to come in with a 2 and hit. And the advantages in this game is bouncing back and forth. 2 is good, and here we go again. That's a great number, 2 and 3. Now Tim Line is in trouble, and 5-6. So now, yeah, certainly blue can cash, and this is not a takeable double. I just thought just very briefly about playing on. May not be right, and cashing the point may well be correct, but one of the biggest errors made by tournament players is they forget the Jacobi rule, which applies in money, which says that you can't win a game unless the cue has been turned, does not apply in match play. And people often forget to play on and cash when they are too good to double. So that game swung a huge amount, 2 and 1. The correct 2 is down here. He follows Stick's rules of opening plays. He has 11 rules for how to play these things. In on the 4, make the bar. Yeah. Tiny edge to blue, but now you can hit, leaving 2s and 5s. Again, he's ahead in the race, so race seems entirely logical. That is, he's now going to hit twice. He's going to play, he's going to see the other play in a minute, hopefully. He should hit once, 13-8, and then should hit again, 21-11. And he's just completely missed the opportunity for the double hit there. I think just a technical error, basically, an oversight, but we're all guilty of those. You can't afford too many in a match. So the 5 is 5. It looks like the 6 is going to have to come out. He's not going to give up the midpoint. Yeah. 3 and 1. So it would be nice to hit, but actually you don't gain enough from it. You're ahead in the race, so yes, you just make the 9 point. Three and 2. So he can hit. And if he's going to hit, then it's probably going to bring the other one down. So blue again has two checkers back. 3 and 6. So the 3 comes in. You hit again taking half of black's roll away from him. Four and 2. So, do you hit or do you not hit? Problem is, if you don't hit, what are you going to do? You're just going to hand the advantage, I think, to blue. And again, black has no real fears. The only things that will damage him here is a double. Double 1, double 2, double 3 from Tim. But it's an awkward roll. See how often a hit out of a clear blue sky creates awkwardness. So the hitting battle continues, and will continue again. He's going to hit the 4-1. Yeah. Oh, double 6. Sometimes it's called a boxcar bonus. Your opponent rolls the 1 in 36 number. Now, time to have a little think here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's got 11 checkers in the attack zone. His opponent's got no defense. So this is an excellent double. These are often closer to passes than you actually think. I remember famously Paul McGreal playing a demonstration match in Brighton one year where he said this sort of position was an easy take, and we did a lot of analysis afterwards and proved actually it wasn't an easy take at all. It was a borderline thing, because this could now happen to Tim Cross. He could get blitzed here. So 3, 2 on the bar. So Tim Cross needs an anchor. That's a pretty good anchor. Double 4 makes his opponent's 4 point and his 5 point. It's the sort of thing that stops the blitz in its tracks. Ooh, 2-1, ugly. You'd have been hoping to make either the 21 point or the mid or the bar point anchor. So he's got a 1 to play in this position. He can play 6 to 5. Oops, if he takes the anchor, I'd have thought rather longer there, but there you go. 5-3 is not very pretty. Can't hit anything. He's probably just going to come off the 24 point, run the rearmost checker. Yeah. So blue owns the cube, don't forget here. So again, the tempo hit. Look, so this is going to be the 1. It's going to hit with the 1. And then the question is, how do you play the 6? So you could come out from the 21 point, you could come out from the 24 point. It certainly isn't going to safety the checker onto the 3 point, I doubt. The time to actually take some risk is when your opponent's on the bar. I think this is a reasonable play. 4 and 1. So again, don't forget Tim Cross doesn't have to panic. He owns the cube here. If he comes in the 4, he could hit with a 1, but his opponent's got the better board and it's a huge number of returns. His opponent's got 5 blocks and is unlikely to tie them all up next time. So there's a case here for just coming in on the 4 point and then playing 6 to 5 and awaiting developments. Let's see what he elects to do. He's coming for 6 to 5. Often it's right to hit, but here I think he's not got enough checkers to take home the attack. He would have been hit there. And now the onus is on Tim Cross to find a good play with the Tim Line to find a good play with the 6-4. So again, tempo hit with the 4. And taking the security of his opponent's bar point as an anchor, this seems entirely logical. 4 and 1 again. So again, he can come in and hit. This is the better hit rather than hitting from the midpoint. You don't give up the midpoint whilst you still have lots of rear checkers because your lines of communication are cut. And again, this seems correct. Tim Cross would love a 2. 6-5 is a pretty useless roll, if truth be told. So he can play 21 to 10, and that duplicates 1s to a certain extent. Six isn't going to come off either of the other checkers, so this must be the 6. And it would seem that the only logical 5 here is to keep going. Again, if he gets hit, Black's still got a blot in his inner board. So, double 4. This is an awkward number. I suspect Black is ahead in the race here, so I think he does this, and then all 3 of those checkers go to the 14 point. Because he can't move the checker on the 16 point. The only other play is just to bring one of those checkers all the way into his own home board. He does this, then there was definitely a question about whether he should have run there. As it is, he's happy he's still got that point as a communication point. He's not yet got a redouble. He can make the 3 point here. But he can come down and come out. Which duplicates 3s, meaning he needs 3s to enter and 3s to hit. It'd be useful to go back to the start position. Let's have another look at that. Yeah. Double 4. Okay. 3 and 1. So I think this checker's just going to come in. I don't see any advantage from leaving shots in the outfield. Double 4 again. Oh, double 6. Right. Suddenly the game is turned on its head. Now whatever happens, Tim Cross is going to be able to cash this game if things go odd, but meanwhile he can play on for the gammon. So 2 diversify. Yeah. Tim Lyne's only way out of this predicament is to roll 1-6. So now I think you come out from the back. The time to leave with the rear checkers is when your opponent's on the bar. Only double 1 is any good. That didn't work. 3 and 1. Well, we have a little bit of security there, and then move the 3. Yeah. No. Entry failure. So this one of these checkers is just going to swing around the corner. Yeah. And Tim's, so he can make the 8 point. It's a staging point on the way home, leaves no shots. Tim Line is definitely suffering from entry failure. This play only leaves double one as a sharp number. And he really is having entry problems. He's now made the ace point. Now all he has to do is to protect against bad numbers. Here he's just played double five safely. 6, and I think he plays 6 to 3 here, yeah. Okay. So that's 5 in, 6 off. So that was well played with the 6-3, because otherwise he'd have left a very dangerous structure. 2 and 1, man off, checker off, sorry. One checker closed out. If every other checker was home, there's only a 5% gammon chance. But here, obviously, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Black has 10 crossovers to get to safety and save the gammon. Currently, blue has only 12 crossovers to go, so black needs to come in very, very quickly at this point. So 6 and 5. There's a close call between clearing the 6 point and coming off the 5 point there. Okay, so black needs 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 crossovers. Let's see if I get, blue needs 10 crossovers, so the gammon will be very close. The issue for black is that some of his crossovers are very long, i.e. he needs 2 6s. Yeah. I believe that's the correct play of the 5-4. 5 and 1. Now any 1 will miss for Tim Cross. That's 3. Keep going. Still going to be very close. If you remember a long time ago, this all started with an excellent double from Tim Line, but Tim Cross rolled a crucial double 4 at precisely the right moment. So that's one checker in. Yeah. Five. So Tim Cross will need a double now to win a gammon. There's only a couple of combinations where black won't take a checker off in 2 rolls. 5, 2. Now black does not get a checker off if he rolls double 4. So try not to roll double 4. There you go. That's safe enough. The score goes to 3-0. Long ago at a Gammonitis tournament, my opponent had a position similar to Tim's, and she, as it happened, rolled the fatal double 4, and instead of just losing the game, lost a gammon and the match. So, the one thing you can be certain of in backgammon is that if it can happen, that eventually it will happen. So, it'll happen to you, and it will happen to your opponents. You just have to learn to live with that. If you can cope with the outrageous swings of fortune created by the dice, you're already a better player. So 3-0 to Tim Cross. Both players starting with 6-5, lovers leap. Yeah, this is now the correct 3-2. You don't come up and give your opponent the chance to attack. This will be 2 down. Yeah, everything pretty equal at the moment. 5-3 is a great roll, makes 5 points. 6-1 makes the 5 point. Okay, but black has 2 rear checkers. No, he doesn't. So now a very even game. So again, you don't advance and give your opponent the chance to attack. So here 13-10 is the correct 3. Makes the bar. You can play 13-8 here as an alternative. That only leaves 2 numbers as opposed to 4 numbers. But then you haven't got the asset that is the bar. Close call, that play, 6-4. That's one of the, obviously the 2 numbers that hits. Oh, having trouble with the baffle box. 4 and 2, return hits. 4 and 6. It hits again. So now we're into another hitting contest. The first person who fails to hit will probably be at a disadvantage here. So 1 and 5. So in with a 1 and safety the 5. So I don't think there's any need to leave extra numbers by way of the 7s. The alternative play is 8-3 or 6-1. It's just an argument, actually, because blue has got an inner point block, but for the sake of shape, we should have left the 7, which gave better distribution. Now Tim has taken a huge advantage here, 6 and 4. This is double and drop, and the question is, can you play on? It's hard to see a sequence, yeah. So Tim Cross can cash this at any point, pretty much. He's decided to cash now, but that's an argument still for playing on. I guess a fan followed by something like 2-2 for black. No, he could no longer cash. No way is to accept this. So we're off to the next game, the score of 4-0. Just had a quick look at that position with XG Gammon. It double pass and playing on for the Gammon have the same equity. There's no difference between the 2. So these 2 know each other quite well. So Tim Cross decided there to cash. So if you're losing 4-0, I think the correct 2 is to come down 13-11 there. Run away, 5 and 4. So blue has a positional advantage, but black has escaped 1 checker. This is up and down. Clearly the correct tactic here. All 6. So this is going to be, those are going to be 2. Now the question is, if you think that blue has a lot of potential point-making numbers, then you take that option away from him by pointing on the ace point. If you think that strategically he's not that strong, then you can play 8-2, which gives you better shape. 3, or you can do this, 4. I would have pointed, but there you go. Yeah. In and out. Then blue needs a 2, which he's got. And then the 6 is awkward, but he's going to come out with a 6. So there's lots of return numbers for black, but this is nowhere near a double, obviously. 3 and 6, that's a hit. Blue has got 2s to hit back again, or make his own outfield anchor. Okay, 3 and 1. That's gone for the 5 point. Again, if he'd been miles ahead in the race, I would certainly have looked at just playing safe there. The question is, if you do this and you're missed, which is what has happened, now do you have a good double? So 16, 20. So here comes the cube. Black's racing count is 123. Blue has accepted it. Now I think he's going to get pointed on. Black was only 8 pips ahead. Now he's obviously 32 pips ahead. Danger for blue is he has no anchor, so he wants to stay back as far as he can. 6 and 4 can play this completely safe, or he can be aggressive and do this, which I believe is correct. It leads to more gammons. 4 and 6. I'm not sure about this play. He's way behind in the race. Stays out, and now there is a gammon threat. So I think this is going to be quite awkward. An awkward roll. He's not going to slot a point, so he's got to play this safely, which means he's probably going to play 8 to 2, 6 to 2. Yeah. His opponent can't anchor, so he doesn't hit a shot that often, staying out. 2 and 1, you clear the 8 point. You want playability, you want builders, and you want to clear the awkward points. All of that points to clearing the 8 point. He can do this, but now he gets an extra builder, but now he's still got another point to dismantle. And you get ugliness like this. So with the other play last time, he'd have been perfectly okay. Here, he's now got himself into trouble with the wrong play of that 2-1. 2 and 6. Now, 2 big numbers again leave shots. 3 and 2. So now he's going to have to bring in a checker from the 8 and another one. Yeah. So this only leaves 2 hitting numbers, strangely enough. 4-3, not 5-1. It's created a very awkward bearing. So this is going to come in and off. 6-5 continues to stand the bar. Some funny numbers here, certainly. 5 and 3 is just okay. But, and that's perfect. Coming in on the 3 point is good. And probably, yeah, that seems good as well. 3 and 2. So now we're into shot country. Looks like he's going to take 2 checkers off the 5 point. It wants to have the minimum number of shots, and he wants to force blue forwards. That was all created by that player, the 2-1. So things come back to haunt you at backgammon, and then you wake up at night and you remember them. and you get very angry with yourself sometimes. This is one extra number, but it doesn't give him the chance to throw him forward. So I believe that was an error. And now, unless he hits a 7, now he's going to get redoubled. No, he isn't, apparently. Ignore my remark. So he can make the 2 point. Yeah. Now there are some bad numbers here. 3-5 leaves another shot. 2-4 stays out. I'm certain that if this was an even game, Tim Cross would have redoubled by now. So 1-5, 3-5, 1-4, all leave an exposed second block. So the question is, do you leave the rear checker where it is? I think you can do 1, 2. I'm not sure I'll put it on the 2 point. Right, so he's got to avoid. Hit with a 3, and now he'll come out with the 6, because now if the blot is hit with something like a 3-5, he'll get shots anyway, and you want outfield coverage. Yeah. So it's possible that Tim Cross has given away a few free rolls here. Certainly I'd have been thinking about redoubling there. It's just so difficult for Black to win the game because he has to come in, get round all the time. There you go. Now this must be a redouble. Even at 4-0. He's got 3 checkers off. Yeah. Ooh, that's a bad number. So now there's an interesting play. It might be right to play 3-1 with the 2. Because of the block inboard, now any 6 gives Tim Line a chance that he didn't deserve. So if he switched there, then potentially, what a lucky person he is, he could have had a shot at the blot, the extra blot. And now here comes the redouble, but that was all too late. So, of course, if he'd redoubled to 4, Tim would have had a fairly immediate redouble to 8 on a lot of sequences. So it's possible that holding the cube was correct. But if you look at the time on the 2 players' clocks, one of them has used 7 minutes and the other's basically used about 6 minutes. And that was an absolutely crucial passage of play. Now, I don't believe you can do the necessary analysis and do the match play equity calculations in the time that they allowed. So they're playing too quickly, in my opinion. This is a serious tournament, and they should have taken a minute or 2 in certain of those roles to consider whether they should have been redoubling. 6 and 5. So Tim Cross has had some luck, certainly in this game, with hitting crucial shots. But Tim Line made a couple of technical errors in the preceding game. He didn't clear his 8 point, and then I think he played the wrong 3-2. This is the case where you don't hit 4 and 2. So he needs to keep the check on the 24 point exactly where it is to put pressure on Blue's block. So this will be 8-2, 13-11. So 7s and 10s hit. So that's 8 hitting numbers. It's not one of them. I think here you just slot the 5 point. Yeah. 5 and 1, that's certainly not ideal. If you hit, where's the 1? I think the 1 in also comes down. There is just an argument for playing this, yeah. So that only leaves 2s to hit. Yeah. So I think that looks like the right play. Six to play. So you certainly want to keep the rearmost checker. You dump a checker with 8 to 2. I think you possibly come out here. Oops. Yeah. 6, 41, 63, 87, 22. So hit. That's the 6. If that's then you can play the 3 safely. So what's the race at this point? Lose 111 after the roll. He's 11 pips up after the roll. He won't be doubling for a while because of the match score. If he hits, then how many return shots are there? So it's 3, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5. 5, 6, which is 7 numbers. 4, 6, which is 9 numbers. So there are only 9 numbers that hit. Gives blue a very flexible position. And of course there is a blot in black's board. Now I think that if that blot was covered, then not hitting would be correct. As it is, I believe that this is correct. 3. You can either play 5 to 3 or this. I think you play this purely. You want to make the 5 point. Now again, you can play this safe. This was potentially the only problem with the last play is that you've got to tidy up now all the blots. 6 and 2. Which effectively only gives you 1 colour number, but I think if you play 13, 11, 8 to 2, which only leaves 7s, it's very hard to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, as we say. So 3 and 1, so he'll make the 5 point and slot the 3 point here. Oh, there he won't. Okay. The 1 was a perfect roll. Tim Cross is rolling extremely well. And that is going to make the 3 point. So now what's the race? So the only way to play this safely is this. So his count is down to 87. So he's only blue's only 6 pips ahead here. Yeah, you don't want to bring the checker in because you don't want to have to run with a 6 when you need it to be your choice. 6-1 is a good roll. So the 4 is going to make the point, and then you think about the 6. Okay. So he can play 2 down, which would leave 7s and some 9s. The point about it is that black's position has to deteriorate here. So I wouldn't be breaking my home board here. I think you've got to come off. You've got to challenge the checkers on the midpoint. I would play 22 to 18, 2 to 1. The problem with this, and this is an oft repeated scenario, is that now even if black hits a shot, the fact that he no longer has his home board means that it's much more difficult for him to win the game. So again, there was no time taken on that decision. So unless you're absolutely certain that that was the right play, then you've made a technical inaccuracy. So now I think you play 3 down, 3 in and 1 down, which leaves 7s. But the only other alternative is to play all the way to the ace point. 2, 3, and you could play 5 to 2, so it could leave just 10s, which is only 3 numbers, or it needs to have 7, which is 6 numbers. But if he leaves a 7 and he's missed, he could have potentially quite a strong double. 6-0 again, he's going to be slower to double than usual. And the other play that he has, because Tim Line is going to be forced to go with 5s, well, 5s he can't play, it could maybe an idea to keep them blocked. So this is reasonable, but it lets him out. Now I'm thinking that it's possible that 13 to 1 was actually the right to play there. Again, we'll have to go and look at that. So when your opponent has a 5-point board and is about to crack, potentially giving him 6 free shots to win the game, maybe just too much. Now what have we got? At 6-0, are you taking this cube? And decides not to double. So that was still, despite the score, I think that was a strong double, and Tim Line should have passed. And again, there, I think that was nearly certainly a doubling situation. So these come off. He's got 2s, he's got 3s, he's got 4s. So now surely he's going to cash this. Yeah. He's not going to get a shot next time except on double 4, double 5, double 6. So that's now 7-0. Again, the opportunity was passed by to potentially get another point there with a correctly timed double. So, as I've said before all afternoon, doubling is the critical factor in backgammon. Take your time. So Tim Cross 7-0 up. Tim Line looking for gammonish positions, early cubes. One, and again, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 4, which is a great number, except the fact that your opponent's made his 5-point. So I don't think there's any need for desperation stakes there. I bring 2 down. You could hit with the 5. You've got to leave a shot somewhere, so the question is where are you going to leave it? It's a close call. I mean, there is an argument for hitting because it takes the roll away. Here you can just run 1 checker away. So blue has a solid advantage here. That certainly helps, and I think you probably make the bar as well here. The only other possible play is to come up 24 to 22. 5 and 1, so this is going to play itself pretty much. The problem with Black's position is that he already has his 2 point, and the 2 point and the 8 point can't both be part of the same prime. Therefore, that holding is inefficient in backgammon terms. It's ideally serviced best by being able to execute a blitz. 5 and 4. Now again, in the money game, I'm thinking blue is going to be doubling. And again, there's no thought being applied to doubling here. So if Tim is absolutely certain it's not a double, that's fine. That's his model of the game. But I think you need to take time, because now I think the market has gone even at this score. So difficult to win from here as Black. Oops. And again, so he's just going to make the 8 point surely. Take the 5 point prime. So maybe he thinks it's too good. Certainly, I think if you think it's too good, you're going to be making the 8 point here, yeah. 5 and 1, it's ugly. You're not going to hit with the 5 because then you haven't got a 1. I think you're just going to clear the 8 point here. Hitting and splitting looks like suicide. So, okay, maybe I don't understand backgammon. 1. It's just a way of getting another checker back, having a horrible home board structure, and potentially losing an undouble gammon. So Tim Cross has a cash at any point here. 1-6 is a dreadful roll. The problem with hitting is you get another checker sent back. 3 checkers back, you just about favourite save the gammon here, but 4 or even 5 checkers back and you're in really deep trouble. That's the 6 point prime done. He's going on top so he can hit next time. 4-3. I think you've got to make the 4 point here. Yes, you can hit, but now if you make the 4 point, at least you've got some structure. It duplicates blue's 6s. And it just looks so much better. 4-2, so he gets the 4th checker back. Black obviously has no timing whatsoever so this looks very pretty for one roll. He's got a 1-2 back game with a perfect home board, but even now it's crashing immediately. He's got another 2 to play. So Tim will just play on here. Sorry, Tim Cross will just play on here. Yeah. So Black needs to dismantle his board so that he can't play 6s currently. Doesn't want to play 5s pretty soon. The other 2 aces here should be played 13 to 11 so that checker can go to the 5 point. There's an argument now for coming off the rear checker here. He can't possibly hold a 1-2 back game. And when he's allowed out, he needs to free a checker as quickly as possible. This is fine. He starts rolling 4s and things. That's a great roll. Keeps his board. So here now you see the classic problem with the 1-2 back game. Blue is not able to play any of his 5s and 6s. whereas black must play all his small numbers. So this is probably correct. That stops him killing yet another checker. He's already got 3 dead checkers. Yeah. And just as well he didn't let him out, really. Double 6, that would have been quite useful. He's not in any real danger, Tim Cross, because again he can cash this game at any point. So he is letting black self-destruct. Now he's going to come off the 8 point. Yeah. Now he's 6. No, nothing. 3, 1. So can't play the 5, can only play the 4. Classic 1-2 back game situation here. Yeah. Just a 1. Yeah. Just a 3. So now there are 4 dead checkers. 4 and 3. Ready for the barrel. Got to go. So where do you go from? I guess for the time being you hold the rearmost point. The hope of something emerging, but actually all you're going to do here is potentially you've got to try and save the gammon. So this is the play if you want to try and win it. The play if you want to try and save the gammon potentially is to have come off the 24 point with both checkers. That's lucky to have come in the first roll. 5 and 3. Okay, blue has saved the gammon. Hurrah! 4 is good. He's got to come off the back because he runs the danger of not being able to release one of the checkers otherwise on his next roll. So he must play 24 to 20 here. Yeah, 6-5 leaves a double shot. 5-2, just to check her off. Ooh, ugly. 3-4, okay. Double 6. So he gets a shot, but he can't win the game. So Tim Line needs a 3. 6-4. The one thing he doesn't want to do is lose a backgammon. 6, and you smooth out by playing 3 to 2 here, which gives you 2 subsequently. Got to go off with 1, 2, 3, and in with the 4th one. Yeah, so there's still some hope for saving the gammon in a running manner. Actually needs 6 checkers to save the. Do you waste a checker? I think you do. Well, I'd have actually come to the 5 point and advanced 3 pips. This is, that is a fantastic roll. Right. Now, the only thing Tim can't afford to do here is fan. 6-4, 6, and in with the 4. Optimal usage. Close run thing. This is certainly going to get at least 1 shot at the double. Tim must roll at least 7 pips now. That is 7 pips. But it's a long way favourite from saving the gammon here. So 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, 6-4, 6-6, and a couple of doubles, but not 5-2. Right, so that's 9-0 to Tim Cross. He's played well and he's had great dice. And that combination is hard to overcome. Tim Line has made a couple of technical errors which have cost him. So for once you could say the backgammon gods are being fair. I think the players are about to take a short break. Yes, they are. So the commentator will also take a short break, make a refreshing cup of tea, and then return to the board very shortly. Okay, the players have taken a break. We are back live. 9-0, Tim Cross on the way to 11 points. His winning chances are obviously in the upper 90% there. So Tim Line will be doubling at the first sensible opportunity. And Tim Cross should be playing for high anchor games or races, i.e. potentially non-gammon situations. The baffle box obviously has had a bit of work done to it. We're now just about ready to go. No, we're not. The baffle box has left us briefly. Okay, they're shaking hands. Let's see if Tim Cross can cross the finishing line. 4-3, and again, when you're losing in a match, the correct 4-3 is to bring 2 down, because basically you want complex gammonish positions, and playing the 4-3 that way achieves high anchor positions most of the time. The 6 will come out. I wouldn't play that 6. I'd have played the other one. This gives lots of hit and combinations, pick and pass combinations. 5-2. 5-6, that's a slight problem. So it could be right, but it could also have been right, I think. 1-2. Could have been right to play 10-4, I was going to say, but that would have been... and he's really rolling badly, so now this match could be over very quickly. 1-2. Obviously, he's now going to... I think you've just come up with both here because it both creates a defensive anchor. So only 2 or 5. 6-4. 6. I think you come out with a 4. Because any hit, you get lots of return hits. The only really good rolls for black are then 4-4 and 1. Anything else is perfectly right. Now is basically at the point of no return. Oh, 1-1. Oh, finally, a good roll for Tim. 2 on the bar, better by far. So you could describe that as a miracle roll. 4-5. Now, given the match score, at least think about doubling. At least think about doubling. I think, given the match score, you play 13-7, 6-4 here. Because now if blue anchors or hits with a 2, yeah, this has got to be right. Now 13-7. Yeah. Now I think he should have doubled before that roll. He might at least have scared Tim. Now it's too late. Oh. Okay. So what does he know that I don't know? Maybe he's playing for a gammon. Yeah. I'd be surprised if it had been too good. Now he must double. And he dropped very quickly. 4s, 5s, and 6s hit, but he did have his own 5-point prime there. Again, we're not able to look at the position long enough to discuss it and make a sensible decision as to whether it was a double and a take. That tends to happen if you've got a huge lead in a match and someone gives you a gammonish double, even though it may be correct to take, and I'm not saying it was, then you just tend to drop very quickly and think, oh, well, it doesn't matter. It's just 1 point. The correct play is 2 down here, yes. Once your opponent's made his 2 point, you don't give him hitting potential. Here, I think you play 2 down. Given he's winning, yes, that's probably the right play. Play 9 to 4, very unexciting. You can play 6 to 1, hitting. Taking a tempo away. He's got slightly the better board. 13 to 8. Yeah, I think this is right, and particularly given the score. You never know when your opponent's going to roll 6-4. 3-6 is a good number. In and hit. So you can take the anchor. Oh, yeah, sorry, you can make the outside point. And again, your opponent's got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 checkers in the attack zone, but 3 on his ace point. So 4-3, he's going to make the 5 point. What else has he seen? Yeah. Okay. Now Tim Cross will be keen to get an anchor. Okay. New plan. Double 6. Now you can run one away, 20 to 10, 22 to 10. So these guys have got plenty of time left. So this is going to be pick and pass. But that's frightening him a bit. Now if he fans, which he doesn't, obviously, so I think you come in 2 and lock up with the 3. Oh, sorry, you come in with the 3 and play 10 to 8, because then you have 2 numbers to escape that last checker. So he could get himself. No, I think this is the wrong idea. I don't see the value in the 10 point here. Because now you play 2 down, I think. I'll certainly play 1 down and think about the other number. 2, if you play 2 up, it duplicates 5s to a certain extent. It puts the checkers back in play. And again, your opponent's not going to be doubling for ages yet. So I think this is a good play. 4 and 3. So that whole problem that was created by his play of the 3-2 has now happened. Had he played the other play, his 4-3 would have come out. 4 and 6, yeah. Now if he fans, the cube's coming. 2 and 4 might be coming anyway. Okay, so I'm doubling as black here at this match score. I'm frightening him a bit. It's nowhere near a double for money, but certainly at this score, yeah. 2 is good. Now he can. How's he going to play them? 1. Keep 3's duplicated. Yeah, I think this is the right play. Stays out. 3 and 2. So it can be very tidy. It's probably the right play. Still got 3 and 4. So that's got to come out. There's no other sensible 4. 3 and 1. 1 and 3. Again, so 1 is, so you can play this very big. You can play 13 to 10 with the 3. That would have worked as it happened. Not saying it's necessarily right. 5 and 2 is somewhat ugly. 5 is 5, 2 is 2. Double 3. So my guess is that this is 3 to the 10 point. You block your opponent. 6s, you give yourself a spare to play with. And obviously, black needs to escape a checker. So this is going to be the 6. Now, how do you play the 1? I think, do you do this? You've got to win with the checkers now, don't forget. You can't win with the cube. So I'd have looked long and hard at 3 to 2 there. because now he's going to go here. Now, if the other checker had been on the 3 point, black would have had a much better attack. So, that's worked well. So, 3 and 5. So the question there was it right to go with the 5-4? And again, I've taken, time is of the essence here. So he can hit outside. No, he can't. The only way he can hit legally is to do this. Again, this could lead to a gammon win, so he desperately needs those points. 2 and 5. So he needs 3-1 or 5-1. Not 6-1. That's all right though. You just make the point. He has no 6. So now he desperately needs a 3 or a 5. That's 4-1. So it continues to roll poorly. Yeah. Oh, and a 6. Now I think the 2 just comes out. You don't go any closer with the span. The only roll that hits at the moment for black is double 5. If he comes to the 12 point, then it'll only be 5-3. But this looks right, so it leaves only one hitting number. 2 and 1. Yeah, 5-3. Can't crash his board. 4 and 3. So that looks as if he's going to play that to the 10 point. Yeah. Right. It just doesn't want something like 5-1. Called every number today. That's terrible. Well, so 2s, 1, 2, 4, and 6 are good. 1, 3 is perfectly sufficient. So he doesn't need to leave any return shots, which he doesn't. 3 and 1 is a good number. So 6 and 5. Yeah, that looks perfectly correct. Now again, if he goes with a 5, oh, double 5! What a roll! Okay. So black is now a huge favourite to win this game. He goes to the 4 point. Slowing down. This looks right, 2-1. Won't be a lot of difference between the plays. Tim Cross needs a double. I'd have played 5-4 there. You need checkers on your 4 point. That goes to the 4 point. Okay, so now it's a race, but black is well ahead. 6 and 3. So Tim Cross is going to need a couple of doubles here. 3 in, 2 off. Yeah. 14 plays 14, but it's not an even playing field. Oh, double 6. Unbelievable. He's certainly had the rub of the green. 40. And despite the double 6, I think that Tim Line is still just a marginal favourite here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. 3 and 1. Yeah. Again, he can afford 1 miss in this position. That's a terrible roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 checkers each. 4. Now, how do you play the 3? Yeah, I think you optimize his double 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3. Yeah. So obviously, I think black is a favourite here, but it's been less of a favourite than you might think. So the correct 2 is this, because now 3-2 plays a lot better. 5 and 1. So Tim Cross is going to be left needing one of 5 numbers to win this game. Unless, of course, Tim Line rolls the dreaded 2-1 next time. He rolled it instead. He's showing him what to roll. Here we go. Can he roll 2-1? He can't. So 9-3. So I think Tim Line could have doubled earlier in that game. There were a number of complex decisions to be made within it, but the time was not taken. So if Tim Line loses this match, he should note that he's still got 11 minutes left on his clock. And the one thing you'll always see with Moshi and the really top players is that they will use their time on the clock because they recognise just how difficult backgammon is. And what you think is a simple decision actually is not. I think you've got to split at the back here. Yeah. Again, Tim Cross would like an undouble gammon, but actually making this 5-point looks pretty good. A small argument there actually for making the bar, unusually. There are certain situations where it works better. He's just going to play 13 tonight. So now Tim Line has got what he wants. He's got prime against prime. And if he can come up with one good improving roll, instead his opponent comes up with an absolutely superb roll. Is that right? Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. And one more. Again, you'd never normally consider doubling in a situation like this, but again, I'd look at bringing 2 down with that 3-2 because what he desperately wants is a bar point or a 5-point. So now, in the other variation, he'd have been favourite to make one of those points. By playing passively, he is not. And again, I would come down with 2 here. You still want those critical points. That's ugly. That's very ugly. So now he might as well hit a 5-4. He can play this safely-ish by playing 13-4. Actually, the other plays hitting might be too big because that potentially gives Tim Cross the opportunity to play for a gammon. So now at least he's taking his time. So 5-4. I've had time to put this one and ask our silicon friend here. So this is the play that XG prefers by a fraction over 13-4, and even 13-9, bringing down the 4 is an acceptable play. 5-5, 1, 2, 1. I think you can come out with the other one. You could make the 2-point, which could be an overplay. I think you just want to win the game, actually, and get to Crawford. So I think coming out bar 15 and making the 2-point is way too much of an overplay. You just first win the game, then win the gammon. Rule of thumb. So I would come 20-15 with one remaining 5 and then 7-2 with the other. You'll be about 7 pips up in the race after that play. Yeah. this is entirely fair. So Tim Lyne's opportunity, that's a 3. He can't afford to leave a shot because the race is close, so he's going to have to play 8-4 here. Yeah. 6-1, make the ace point. Something has to give in Tim Lyne's position fairly shortly. And that's very ugly. I think, yes, you can do this. I've at least considered coming down. Now he's going to cross both checkers, I think. Not going to play 6-1, 6-2. So 6-1, 6-2 for glory. 6-4. I think you hold the anchor here. You just come down with 2. The state of his own home board means it's difficult, and he's not leading in the race. Yeah, this would be my play. Has he made the play? I think you don't gain enough from running out here. Yeah. I don't know what he's thinking of doubling, maybe. Close call. He's 18 pips up in the race. Now he's 25 pips up. This looks as though, yeah, he's going to play this and this. So now blue is 14 pips up, according to my calculations anyway. So now he's making the 2 point. Now the time has come to stop and think. 5-4, nothing actually leaves a shot. Even 6-5 doesn't leave a shot. And players are often loath to double, but here comes. A good double, I think. Because he knows the cube will come back on 4. So, I haven't got time online here to crunch the numbers from the match equity table, but that's what I would do over the board. The question is, as black, how do you see yourself winning this position? He's only technically 7 pips behind, I think. Let's just check that. 4, 4. So black is 78. Blue is 71. So blue's only 7 pips up. This is the right play of the 3-1 now. Any 4 or 6, the cube comes back, it's an automatic redouble. And I think, so now he's going to go with both of these. The only way opportunity he's got is to win a freak race, really. So it's worth hitting. It only leaves 3-5 as a return number. Okay. So if he makes the 3 point, we're pretty much dead. So that was my prophecy. So 3 in, no heroics here, 8-5 and 2-1. There's no point in leaving any bad numbers. 5 and 4. So you can play this safely, 6-1, 6-2. You can also take one checker off and play 6-1. Ask yourself the question, if I play 6-2, 6-1, and my opponent rolls double 6, will I be upset? 1, 2, 3, 4. He'd still be a huge favourite. If he plays 6-1 and 6-2, then and black doesn't roll a 6, then the match is pretty much over. He's taken the checker off, and then he's rolled 5-4. So now he's got a checker off. Ooh, 6 and 2. So Tim, I would suggest, needs 2 doubles from here. Of course, blue may roll a whole series of very low numbers. Two and 1, that's a low number. It's no damage yet, obviously. That's at least makes it exciting a little bit. Double 3. Double 3 in return. 1, 2, 3, and 1 off. Yeah. So huge numbers required from Tim, and he can't possibly afford to miss. This is going to have to be 2 in. No, I don't think this is right, because if he rolls 2 more 2s, he has to assume he's going to roll a double 6 effectively to do this, and that 5 is probably the killer. I'm not even sure that technically he can win now. 4-4-4. He's got 1 checker too many. Yeah. End of the match. Well played, guys. Thank you very much for entertaining everybody. I hope those of you who've been listening have enjoyed the commentary. I'm going to take another break. Then we'll see shortly on the channel what else will become available.